Let's do it live on a Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Beau, the great Z. How you living?
I'm doing well. I'm excited here on a Thursday to get ready for the weekend. NFL things are happening. Kwesi announced last night what a fine human, and I don't know if you got to see much of his press conference. I know you have other obligations, but
sure.
He's just he's the kind of guy that I think when you hire him as a fan base, you watch it and you go, I think we're in pretty good hands. Like, this guy's going to be very smart and thoughtful and intentional about everything that he does. And so does it guarantee success? I don't think any of that guarantees success in the NFL because there's so many variables. But do you think that he, like Andrew Berry, gives your organization a better chance than it would otherwise? Yes. And so I'm happy for him. Great guy.
Yeah, great guy. I didn't get a chance to know him, as I mentioned yesterday, just because of the COVID stuff that we've been in since he's been part of the organization. But everything you said, and if you say it, it's gospel in my book, because that's the type of reputation, type of man you are, frankly.
Well,
that's
you.
How honorable you are as a human. And there are people who besmirched you previously. I won't stand for it.
Erroneous.
I won't stand for it.
No, you're going to have a day of
You
reckoning. Gulp
life is all you do. Just forever optimism. But you speaking highly of him means a lot. I'm thrilled for him. It's one of the cool things to be able to be in an organization where people are brought up and then allowed to blossom, and in this case, even if it is to blossom at another NFL team. With that being said, though, I will say this, and we'll get into these coaching hires. The NFL is a yo-yo. Well, we got to have a football guy in the front office. That didn't work.
Let's have a process guy.
Grab me a process guy. I need some analytics. I need some process. That didn't work. We got to get football guys in here. Football guy comes in. This is Kwesi will do a great job there. I'm sure of it. Rick Spielman did a great job there.
Great job
there.
And
right?
Left.
George Payton left.
And is now
went to Denver. Looks like he's doing a great job there. We'll get into that hire in a second of what they did. But this is what happens around the league. It happens at the coaching level. It happens at the management level. The only damn thing that matters, man, and this is just the simplest thing. It's the most important thing. You have got to have the alignment. You have to have ownership, front office, coaching that sees it the same way.
100%.
And buddy, you've seen it here. It really doesn't matter which way that is. Like if you want to convince me, all right, a whole line and an entire alignment of football guy, that can work. Absolutely, that can work. An entire alignment of process guys, yep, that can work too. What you can't have is it splintering.
No, and you can't have people fighting and then backstabbing and undercutting. You've got to be – it's hard enough, even when you're doing everything right, that you can't put yourself, in a bad situation. And listen, I think this will be coming up. 2022 will be my 10th season here with the Browns. That's a decade. If there's – to your point that you just made, if there's anything I learned, when there's the fighting –
no chance.
Between coaching and front office, you have no chance. None. Zero. You need to all be rowing in the same direction. Then you need to get lucky with health. You need to get lucky with COVID in this era that we're in. You need to get lucky with a lot of things. And obviously your most heavily invested resources need to deliver an appropriate return on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then when you're really good, you find Demetric Feltons, you find Donovan Peoples-Joneses, in the middle to late rounds that actually can come and really help your football team. That's how you become great. But you've got to be aligned, and then you've got to hit your major resources must provide the returns that you expected them to provide.
No question, if I were any of these teams that are hiring, like if I were firing a head coach or a GM, I would almost always, unless you feel like you have somebody who is brilliant in that role that needs to be retained, I would almost always hire them both at the same time.
Yep.
Almost always. And almost have it be we're the way we did it here with Stefanski and Berry. Now, you could do it the other way. Hire the GM first, then he hires the coach, fine, whatever. But you have to have them walk in at the same time with their hands held high saying this is the vision of the organization going forward. Anything else, it just feels like there's no chance. You mentioned, the ability, the big guys you hit on, they have to provide the big return. The best example of that is in the AFC Championship game this year with Cincinnati in our division. In back-to-back drafts, they picked high. They picked number one overall. They drafted Joe Burrow. They drafted high. There was a lot of discussion about what to do with that pick. A lot of people wanted Penei Sewell. Joe Burrow can't get hit like that. They took Jamar Chase. They got a franchise quarterback and a game wrecker in 2 drafts. That's it. It changes everything.
And Higgins was also
well, then they
in that other
supplemented,
draft. Yep.
right? Then they supplemented with Higgins and free agency, and then all those other things started to hit. But they hit on those two, and they didn't hit doubles; they hit home runs. And now you have game wrecker, franchise quarterback, and you say to yourself, "All right, you got to win the AFC the next decade." They're going to be a factor because those two aren't. They're both on rookie deals. They're not going anywhere. Like that. That's the gig. And when I look around. There's a lot of people, let's use them as the example for a minute. There are a lot of people there who don't think that Zach Taylor is up to snuff, that we're critical of his ability. And there's no question he learned on the job. No question he learned on the job. Was he ready for that at the beginning? Who knows? But what I do know is that Joe Burrow has now had 2 seasons with the same voice in his ear. He's an offensive-minded guy. Now they can collaborate going forward, and he'll be there going forward, and they can grow together. That's an opportunity for success. That's what Josh Allen has absorbed and lived with in Buffalo, and that's the way. So when we get into these later hirings and what's happening around the league.
What could be interesting in Buffalo is where you have the opportunity for your leading offensive voice to leave because it is the defensive coach in Sean McDermott. So there's an opportunity for Dable, who has been with Josh the entire time, to leave. And now the Bills have already come out and said if Brian Dable gets a job, which it feels likely from the way they were talking about it, or they think it's likely, that Josh Allen will have an absolute hand in picking his successor from within or from outside. And so that's a good way to do it. You're bringing somebody and keeping them there. And one thing I've learned is that being in somebody's system and coaching under them, and certainly you've seen it with just the Belichick tree and the lack of success they've had around the National Football League, is not the same as being that guy.
No
two humans, just because they work together, are going to be the same in terms of their ability to either lead or scheme or whatever it may be that is required of their particular job in the National Football League. This is going to be fascinating to see because I thought the 2 most interesting coaching openings based off of the quarterbacks that they would have to work with would be Jacksonville and would be Chicago. And I personally expected both of them to go for what they considered to be a great young offensive mind to pair with them. And if there are rumors that with Jacksonville, they're going to get Leftwich because Trent Baalke would be out and Adrian Wilson is set to become the GM. And Leftwich, if that happens, smart by him. He gave them an ultimatum. Now they're waffling supposedly, and the Saints want to talk to Leftwich now. And the plane was in Denver for Vic Fangio,
right.
which
Crazy.
Feels like you want to bring in as defensive coordinator. Great, perfect. But
no way.
No. And then we go to Chicago, hiring Matt Eberflus. Did I say his last name right?
Said it emphatically up until you questioned it.
I did. Did you feel it? I felt like
you nailed it.
Okay, thank you.
Eberflus, yeah.
Who was the DC with the Colts, and now we don't know who that shocked me. That's a very surprising hire to me, not to mention the fact that in the biggest game he's ever coached as a defensive coordinator, to get in the playoffs to beat the Jags, they got shellacked.
Yeah, I mean, that is stupefying. That hire is stupefying to me that they would make that hire. All that matters, this is what I was, and look, you got a vested interest in Justin Fields because you like what he did at Ohio State. You like the fact that he saved a season. You know the talent that he possesses. I think he's real. I think he's absolutely real, and I think in the right system he can be a star in this league. I don't know that he can be Mahomes and all of that, but I think he could be. I do think he could be a Pro Bowl type player, and I think he could be a leader of franchise. I think he can be all those things, but I don't know if he's ever going to get the chance because he was put in a brutal situation this year. What they did to him in the game here was criminal.
Oh, my God.
That was criminal what they did to him here, okay? So now instead of putting him in a position to succeed and saying, all right, we've got to find somebody, like go to Columbus and hire Ryan Day and say, hire whoever you want to be the general manager. You worked with this kid. You know him better than anybody. You got the best out of him. This is an incredible piece of clay. Mold it. What do you need, $15 million a year to run the Bears? Fine, run it. Let's go. Like, you have this one opportunity to take advantage of this, and instead they hire a defensive mind who is, to your point, was brutal in a game they had to have. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Jacksonville hadn't done that to anybody. Nobody.
No.
Go look at Jacksonville offensively.
11 of 11.
Yeah, Jacksonville hadn't done that to anybody, and they went up and down the field on them all day, and that's what you're going to do. So now, if you're Justin Fields, and this gets back to our Burrow conversation, our Allen conversation, now if you're Justin Fields, all right, you're going to learn your second offense.
Yep.
The coordinator, the coach didn't draft you. The GM didn't draft you. The coach didn't draft you. The coach is a defensive coach. So whoever this coordinator is, that his job is going to be to curate Justin Fields, right? And curate that offense. Okay, fine. If he does a good job, he's going to get a head job in 3 years. Maybe 2 if he's great. Could be 2 years he gets a head job. And now Justin Fields on a perpetual treadmill of learning new offenses with new voices. Recipe for failure. When I see this stuff in Jacksonville, if it's anything other than Leftwich, then failure.
Yep.
And get Trent Baalke out of there. What's he need to be there for? Get him out.
Well, I think that's what they're saying. You got to get him out.
I mean, Urban did a lot to make his own bed, and it was a disaster. I think we all know that. It was going to be, but there was a roadmap for him to have success, and part of that roadmap that the Jaguars failed him on was forcing Trent Baalke on him.
Yep. Yeah.
So that shouldn't have been the case. Like the idea, it's almost like if Jacksonville doesn't get this right, like if they were to hire Vic Fangio, it's almost like if you're the NFL, you have to go say, well, you don't have the rights for Trevor Lawrence anymore.
We're liberating.
We're liberating him.
Emancipating.
He's back in this draft.
He's back in this draft.
Put him back in the draft. Like you.
Don't they have the number one? Don't they have? Am I wrong? Do they not have the number one?
They
pick
do,
again?
but they can't pick him. He's banned from being picked by them. Sorry, you don't have the right to. You can't. You're too incompetent. Give him a chance, man. Give him a chance.
Yeah, I think that they'll come to their senses there. I think Leftwich and Wilson seems like a pretty good direction for them to go, given what they've done in the past and trying to break free from that. Seems like it makes a lot of sense.
It's one of the great saunters.
Oh yeah, that is
I mean, that pace.
There's some potency there.
That pace is just steady.
That would be right. I think that's like strolling around the animal grounds at Pablo's, like on Pablo's estate where he's got his little zoo. That's how you'd saunter through there.
You saw the 2 Escobars, right? The 30 for 30?
Of course.
What are you hard of seeing things?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was the best one. Maybe that
I agree.
and Once Brothers was incredible too. Those are the two.
That one
and
really
that
hits
one's
me hard.
In the heart for you,
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
But the idea that he had a private zoo.
Yeah.
And that like he would have those soccer games where he'd bring like the best players in the world would come play soccer at his house.
Yeah.
Incredible. And what is it? One of those animals are running amok. Like, does he have hippos or something that are running amok in Colombia? They're like Pablo's hippos that are running amok down there still, like they're wild.
I'd like to think that.
I think so. I think they're like invasive, and nobody can.
Well, they're hippos.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be there, but they're just wreaking havoc. It's either hippos or rhinos. There's something that he brought there that's still a problem in Colombia today.
They were allowed to wander his unattended estate.
Which type of animal?
4 of them, hippos.
Okay.
They were okay. In the late 70s, he kept 4 hippopotamuses in a private menagerie at his residence, Hacienda Napoles, east of Medellin, about 162 miles. Deemed too difficult to seize and move after his death, and hence they were left unattended on the estate. By 2007, the 4 had multiplied to 16 and taken to roaming the air for food in the nearby Magdalena River. In early 2014, there were reported to be more than 40 in the area. The estimated population in December of 2019 was 90 to 20, their range covering about 870 square miles and extending into Santander. The expected population will almost certainly increase to more than 150 individuals within a decade, could reach up to more than 200 hippos, while the range they could eventually cover would be about 5,200 square miles. There could be thousands within a few decades. The Colombian hippos reach a maturity earlier than African hippos. There have been attacks on humans, but so far, nobody's been killed by Colombian hippos. In 2020, one chased down and severely injured a farmer, which prompted research into their population growth.
How about that?
Pretty great call by you. In 2013, the National Geographic Channel produced a documentary about the species in Colombia titled Cocaine Hippos.
There you go.
I believe it might be available on Netflix.
One of the great misses in prestige drama history is that Narcos being only 2 seasons.
Yeah,
with Pablo.
Yes, because the rest it's nowhere near what it was. But yeah, they should.
Even the 3rd season's pretty good down there when they're doing the other guys. Like that's pretty good. It's still some of the
guys you know
that
right.
you know.
Yeah.
But the idea that they had that actor playing Pablo who crushed it. Like once that happens, you got to back that up a little bit. You got to say we got to go more on the rise of Pablo.
Yes, let's spend a lot of
time on the rise of Pablo. Let's stretch our legs here a little bit. And they went right to High Speed Pursuit of Pablo, and they missed a lot of the great. And the series is awesome. It's just 2 seasons, but they missed a little bit.
Here's something for you.
Go ahead.
October the 25th, 2021, so not that long ago. The offspring of hippos once owned by Colombian drug kingpin Pablo Escobar can be recognized as people or interested persons with legal rights in the United States following a federal court order. The case involves a lawsuit against the Colombian government over whether to kill or sterilize Pablo's hippos, whose numbers are growing at a fast pace and pose a threat to biodiversity. An animal rights group is hailing the order as a milestone victory in the long-sought efforts to sway the U.S. justice system to grant the animals personhood status. Obviously, the order won't carry any weight in Colombia where the hippos live, but it feels like a big win.
I don't understand. So the hippos come here and they're humans?
That's right.
Okay. Hey, we got our own problems. We got wild hogs that are a problem, invasive. Those the idiots with the snakes in Florida. You guys seen those stories, like in the glades?
Oh, yeah. I don't want any part of that.
You can't have that. Well, they're not supposed to be there, and they're eating everything else.
Well, yeah, it's
got to eradicate
species.
them, right? And the hogs are in Texas. There's hogs in parts of eastern Ohio that are running amok.
There are hogs in
can't have it.
There are hogs in New Orleans. I saw them.
Did you see the leak, by the way, on the Red Hogs? There was a T-shirt that said Red Hogs. Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
So it's happening?
I don't know. I was real excited when I saw it, but then right after that, Charles Mann said, "Baco Nation." God, what a human!
Look at him. Smiling.
There's a T-shirt that said Red Hogs. That there was a bunch of them in a box that kind of showed like a leak, and people were kind of excited about it. But then right after that, there's a story from Charles Mann, one of the great Redskins of all time, who said that they gave him like 3 options, like him and the Veterans Committee. He's like, they all suck. They're all terrible.
So it wasn't. I mean, he said Red Hogs wasn't one of them.
So I don't know.
So maybe they're getting it. Maybe they figured it out.
I don't know if he was asked directly about Red Hogs, but he said that the 3 options that the veterans were shown in like December for the name were brutal, and we'll get it next week.
Let's go. Is it possible?
I mean, that seems like that would be a home run.
Home run. I'm so in.
Yeah, all those guys wearing the hog noses all again.
The logo could be like,
oh yeah, fierce hog.
Fierce hog.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Red Hogs football. Watch it. I mean, somebody could have made them on their own there, but those are in a nice Gildan box there.
Yeah. You always got to pay attention to those things. I think that has a chance.
Whoa.
What?
They're up. This is another one that said, I think this leak is real. Just saw this at a sports store at Montgomery Mall, which is outside of right outside of that area. That's a city, Montgomery Mall. I've been to the Montgomery Mall. Yeah, look. Hanging on a rack. That's exactly.
Boy, you blew it, boy, if you're putting that on a rack.
Well, listen, when we did our new uniforms, that's where they ended up, in a sports store first.
Yeah, but you wouldn't put it on the rack.
They put it on the rack. That's where it was seen. Yes.
What?
Remember those pictures? It was an Orange Hayden jersey.
I remember the Orange Hayden jersey going around.
It was on a rack.
That's not
it was up.
But I also thought that it was like in a box. I didn't realize it was hanging.
It was hanging. And I'm like, don't worry, everybody. I've seen them.
That's not it.
That's not it.
You're safe.
Those aren't so great.
Oops. Also this today, officially Ben Roethlisberger retires. Gibby writes, thank period God period. 18 seasons. The record against us, we know. We don't need to get into that. But he was 0-1 in the postseason. You knew this was coming, but he made it official today. One of the great what-ifs, of course, is Ben Roethlisberger. One of the great tormentors of the franchise, of course, is Ben Roethlisberger. You have respect for what he did, obviously, and glad you're moving off of it. I think the big thing to think about here is, and this will be the story of the NFL offseason, there are a lot of spots that feel like they're a quarterback away. This would be one of them.
Yep.
So if Rodgers is available, if Wilson's available, Watson is available, Carr, Cousins, Garoppolo, are there going to be enough places are there going to be enough quarterbacks for all the places that need them? Because you start to look at the teams that you go, yeah, put a quarterback there, that's a contender. There's quite a few. There is quite a few.
Are many.
Yeah.
And
so I don't know. What they do is going to be I just think it's impossible that they will go into next year in camp with Rudolph and Haskins. I see no scenario.
Let's go ahead and now Aaron Rodgers, you go to Denver now. That's what you do. You follow Hackett. You go
Get him in the NFC. If you're him, don't you go to the NFC?
Of course I want him in the NFC.
Go play
but all
for
the
New
teams
Orleans?
that he's linked to and now are the Steelers make a lot of sense. No, they don't.
No, I want no part of that. But
could make less sense.
If I were him, I would be straight to the NFC. I mean, that is such a
stay there. Just stay.
Well, stay there. Or stay in Green Bay. That's fine too. Yeah, that would be possible. It's a mailbag edition of the program today. Tweet your questions to Gibbe at Browns_daily. Use the hashtag AskCBD.
Do you think we would get more and better questions if you just had to tweet like your questions? What if it's just for the mailbag at Gibbe?
Well, that would be easier. At Gibbe, for sure.
It's not my name.
Yeah, but we're not even tweeting at you. We're tweeting at the show account.
That's just for this, for like the mailbag.
At Browns
that's like when people.
daily.
That's your like.
Hey, Gibbe.
That's your Browns Daily persona.
I feel like it might be too many characters.
Gibbe?
Like if you got to get a question in.
Hold on a second. BG. Let's go ahead and play this out here.
Well, if they go hashtag AskCBD,
Right.
that's 7 characters.
Okay,
Give me the character count.
Okay.
I feel like
That's where we're at. We need a character count. I don't know what you're.
I think it's.
I'm going to lose this. I feel like
I think
the
it's
public
fair.
school education is going to come out.
GIBBAY 6. So at BGSU Gibbs 9, at Browns_daily 12, at Gibbe 6. And if you want it to be GIBBEH, fine, still 6.
Yeah. Because there's
Off
two.
by 1.
You're off by like
You're up by
50% in a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Well,
Gibbe
I'm not
or
changing
Gibbe.
the Twitter handle. I thought we were doing
No.
the hashtag.
No, you're going to have a separate Twitter handle
That's
No,
just
I'm not.
at Gibbe.
that's at Gibbe.
Oh, I like that.
That's just for the show.
I love that.
Nope.
Such a win. Such a win.
Why do you choose?
He's allergic to wins.
The
the man's allergic to wins.
What did Steve Carell say to Toby in the office? I hate so much about the things you choose to be.
That is one of the more underrated, just irrational dislikes in
I just can't
ever.
stand him.
Like just
He
can't
has
stand him, and for no
hates
reason.
him.
I don't know why. Why? Because he polices him? Is that the deal? Like he casually polices him?
Yeah.
He's very casual in his police. It's not like he holds him to any
And he's just
any
and
fire.
he walks around like Eeyore. I mean, he's beaten down. He's like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Right.
Like life's not going great for him.
No. Has a crush on Pam.
Yeah, give
God
him-
knows why. I mean, she's terrible.
She she turns out to be pretty terrible.
She is the whole way.
Yeah. She drags Jim down with her.
Yes, of course. All right, Ben Baby going to join us about 20 minutes from now. We'll get into some of this quarterback situation around the league as well. A lot of fun on the program. What else? Oh, we got, and of course the mailbag is open. Hashtag AskCBD Browns_daily.
Too bad you can't just tweet it.
Jeff
Tweet
Howard's
at
going
Gibbe.
to join.
Jeff Howard's
Jeff
going to join
Howard,
us. I
that's
see
right.
as well. He'll join us from the East-West Shrine Bowl.
Defensive coordinator.
So that'll be very fun. So we'll get it. We'll have a little fun with all of that. We're off and running on a Thursday. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Here for Char Whiskey Bar and Grill in Rocky River. Enjoy over 300 whiskeys and craft cocktails paired with made-from-scratch menu items. Catch the game of the week at the Char Bar or enjoy date night with a craft cocktail and a glass of wine and a nice steak. Check out Char's new winter menu, including a duck breast dinner, seafood pasta, and Japanese A5 Wagyu strip steak. That is good, good stuff. Incredible liquor menu here. Incredible. Dine in or carry out for brunch, lunch, or dinner. Support local. Visit Char Whiskey Bar and Grill in Rocky River or at charrockyriver.com. This from Gibbe. Ben is done in Pittsburgh. Handicap the odds of for the Steelers for quarterback in 2022 he wants us to do. But before we do that, you were in the break making a list of teams that are quarterback that feel like they're a quarterback, that need a quarterback. Frankly.
Yeah, where you just don't know.
Just don't know.
There's questions around their situation right now.
And let me ask you this. Do you believe that what we've seen this year in the postseason has added teams to this list?
Yes.
Same.
Especially in our conference.
No question.
So I'll go by conference and division, and then I'll go through team, and then I'll give my opinion. You tell me what you think. So in the NFC West, the two teams that I think are not contemplating anything at quarterback for 2022 are the Rams and the Cardinals. I think it's up in the air with Seattle and Russell Wilson, and certainly with the 49ers and Garoppolo and Trey Lance and Brady and Rodgers.
Well, if Seattle is off of Wilson, then to me that's a rebuild. If they're off of Wilson, that's a rebuild. Otherwise, they'll try one more run at it. They lost a lot of close games. The 49ers, if they're off of Garoppolo, would be the quarterback away. So that's either
unless
Lance,
they think Lance is the guy,
right? So that now by quarterback away, I mean either Lance is the guy or Brady, Rodgers.
Yeah,
come on down.
Yep.
And then I think they're gonna go to the Super Bowl this year. So that tells you that's where they are.
In the NFC East, I think Philadelphia has questions about whether or not Jalen Hurts is the guy.
Yes.
Washington football team doesn't have a quarterback as we sit right now. And I think the New York Giants, despite what they said in their press conference, they've got to have some questions if Daniel Jones is the guy.
And Philly was in on Deshaun last year.
Yep.
And the Giants have a better roster than you realize.
Yep. In the NFC North, we don't know what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota.
No.
We don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. And I think we kind of don't know what's going on with Detroit. I think they like Goff, but I do think that they're looking to bring somebody else in there. Chicago with Justin Fields is the one place where they've got quarterback. Maybe, we've heard reports that they might be interested in trading Justin Fields. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
But this coach almost says that Justin Fields wasn't the top priority in their hiring process by any stretch.
No question. I think the most stable there is probably Detroit because it feels like they could use Goff as a bridge for another year or two as they build up things around.
Yep. In the South, Tampa Bay. Is Brady done?
Yes. If he is, yes, for sure.
And
ready-made.
New Orleans for
sure.
Go
there, win a title. Yeah. New Orleans, same thing. Really good roster.
Carolina's not – I don't know. You put a good quarterback on them. Why couldn't they be good?
Yeah, they got a lot of weapons.
Got a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
And then in Atlanta, I'm not saying they're a quarterback away, but I think that is an organization that has to have some type of quarterback question. Maybe they run Matt Ryan one more year, but we're nearing the end of that run.
Is he at all – is there any chance he's not in Atlanta?
I don't think so because of money.
The contract is so brutal that there's no way around it. So he'd almost have to tear up that do like an extension to trade him.
But what's crazy is, so you look at, who has no questions at all about what they're doing at quarterback for 2022. In the NFC, I think you can say Arizona, the Rams, Dallas, and then maybe it's Atlanta but they're still probably looking for a succession plan of some type.
They would like some plan. I don't think you can. They probably learned that they can't do what they did this year.
Okay, so
again.
we just talked about
That's
three
a lot
teams
of
in a conference that are for sure set.
Yeah.
AFC in the West, Kansas City and the Chargers are set.
Yep.
Vegas, there's question marks. Is Derek Carr going to be there, or what does that whole overhaul look like? And then Denver absolutely needs a quarterback.
Yeah. And they're probably, in the eyes of most, the number one landing spot for the best guy left.
They're a quarterback away.
They are a quarterback away.
Perhaps the most stable division in football is going to be the AFC East because you've got Josh, you got Mac Jones, and Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
At least for 2022, right?
Yeah.
And then Miami's a question mark because clearly they attempted to get Deshaun Watson once.
Yeah.
And so they're not sold on Tua. The AFC South, Houston, now maybe they love Davis Mills, but you would think that they could be we're not sure who their starting quarterback is going to be in 2022.
Well, and they have the biggest wild card because they have the asset that is most attractive.
Indianapolis, it really felt like they weren't thrilled with Carson Wentz at the end of the year, even though his numbers are
pretty
not
good.
bad.
Yeah, they were okay.
And then in Tennessee, they're going to have to start asking themselves, can we actually do this with Ryan Tannehill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not pressing, but it's, yeah.
And then you get to our division. The Bengals are 100% set.
Yeah.
I would say the Ravens are probably 90% set, but they also have to ask themselves in this conference where I believe, and I don't think I'm alone, you have to have an elite passing game.
Yeah.
Period, to go forward. Does Lamar give you that? Or is he the best? Is he one of the most dangerous and best regular season quarterbacks in the league?
You have one of the they're one of the trickiest calls, because if I were in their shoes, I would say, man, I would love to see one season of him with Dobbins and Edwards,
sure,
and us running it a lot, and him running for 1,100 yards and those guys running for 1,000, and we dare you to stop us. Like, we'll zag while everybody else is zigging. They're the one team that we've talked about that is – this year is so hard to make sense of. And you can question, the lack of postseason success before that fairly, and question their ability to throw it to win it. But if they can run it that way with him, it might be enough. It might be enough. But it's so incomplete because they just never had their team.
Again, I'm not really thinking
I know.
their thing.
No.
And then look, our situation is what it is right now, where you have to be, at least the mind is out there, right? And then you've got Pittsburgh, which is clearly looking for a quarterback. And you could make the case that they went to a playoffs this year with somebody who couldn't throw the ball.
They're the other
What
Denver.
do they look like?
Yeah, they're the other Denver. You put a big-time player in there. You put Deshaun Watson in Pittsburgh. God forbid.
So what you end up with is you're talking about a National Football League where going into 2022, there are Arizona, Rams, Dallas, and we'll put Atlanta here because Matt Ryan, I think, has to be the quarterback there.
I think so too, yeah.
Kansas City Chargers, New England Jets, Buffalo, Cincy, Jacksonville. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11 teams out of 32 that are 100% set as we sit here today on who their quarterback is going to be in 2022.
Well, and also to further that, is completely set in what their passing game is and what it can be and what it continue to grow into and evolve into. Yeah, that's a lot. It's not a quarterback-heavy draft, and there's all these big names in free agency. So I'm going to tell you what, there's going to be 4 quarterbacks in this first round. Everyone's saying there's going to be 1 or 2. You just went through it. There's going to be 4. You're going to talk yourself into guys. You're going to talk yourselves into guys. That's what's going to happen.
But that's a wild situation, and that is, I think, a massive departure from 1 year ago.
Agree completely. Yeah, it's going to be chaotic.
Massive.
It's going to be a seller's market on that front. All right, coming up next, we'll get a report from how things are going in preparation down in Cincinnati from our good buddy Ben Baby. Covers the Bengals for ESPN. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Buying or selling a home with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, always a winning strategy. If you plan to move this season, they're going to have you covered at Howard Hanna. Every day is game day. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. And with that, we head out on the hotline for a visit with our good buddy Ben Baby. Covers the Bengals for ESPN's NFL Nation. Ben, thanks for the time, pal. Let's start with this one as here we are on the doorstep of the AFC Championship game. From your perspective, when did you start to say to yourself, this team can be special? Was there a moment you circle?
Yeah, I think after maybe the first playoff game, where I said, okay, they can actually do this. As good as they've looked throughout the season, and Beau, you and I have talked about this throughout the year. It just seems like this team really struggled to find the consistency needed to be an elite playoff team, and we really didn't know what that was going to look like. Perhaps until that Week 17 game against Kansas City when they clinched the AFC North and showed that they can hang with any team in the NFL. But until they really got into this playoff run, we weren't sure how the postseason would affect a young team that really doesn't have the experience of playing in these type of games. And so far, the Bengals have done a good job of weathering the storm against Las Vegas and then against Tennessee, being able to win that first playoff game in 31 years and then beat the number one seed. I think now, once you have that under your belt, you feel like this is a team that can do some special things. And, they're going to be heavy underdogs against Kansas City this weekend. But it wouldn't shock me at all if the Bengals ended up making a run and are playing in Los Angeles in a couple weeks.
Yeah, an impressive win over the Chiefs. The last time these two teams faced it ended the Browns season there at around 4:25 on that Sunday afternoon. I certainly won't forget that. I want to ask you about Burrow, though. I mean, he just seems to be everything you could possibly want. And in a game where he was sacked 9 times, to be able to deliver that strike, get 19 yards to chase, get him in field goal range, and then McPherson, just the clutch meter there. But what about Burrow's performance in a game where he's just beaten around pretty good, but just continues to deliver the football at an incredibly high level?
Yeah, he's shown a good amount of resiliency throughout this season. I think you've got to give him a ton of credit. He said starting after the bye week around week 11 is when he really started to feel comfortable and feel like himself after last year's devastating left knee injury. And we've definitely seen him become more comfortable in the pocket, a little more mobility. He's been more willing to take on free blitzers in the hope of trying to make someone miss and get a play going. So I think that we've seen that from Burrow the last few weeks, and he definitely you can sense a difference in the way he's played. And for him to be able to take the hits that he took against Tennessee and still, like you said, deliver that 19-yard pass to Chase with the game on the line, spoke volumes, and it's why there's so much confidence in what Burrow can do, not just this year, but as the future as the franchise quarterback.
Ben, I want to talk about Zach Taylor for a second. Certainly a lot of Bengals fans questioned. A lot of questioning of him early on, and the wins weren't there, and it was a struggle, to say the least. But it feels like he's hit his stride as well, and certainly not perfect, but I do like the idea of him and Burrow growing together and that consistent voice. What have you seen in the evolution of Zach over the last couple of years and into the guy that he is now?
Yeah, I asked guys on the team about that as we head into this week for a story we're working on for ESPN.com that should drop in a couple of days. And one of the things that came out was the communication, and I think that the ability to build relationships has been big for Zach. And he's always been pride himself on being a people person. But, special teams coordinator Darren Simmons made a good point in that, for the bulk of his career, Zach has really only been an assistant and never really been a coordinator, and, at most a coordinator in his days at the University of Cincinnati. He had a one-year stint there and then had an interim role as a coordinator with the Miami Dolphins. But really, once he got here, he was then tasked with having to, gain full control of the team. And over the course of 3 years, he's gotten a better sense of how to, get full command of an entire team and kind of build those relationships on both sides of the ball. And we've definitely seen that pay off. And I think that you are seeing that growth in him as a head coach the last few years. You've definitely gotten the sense that he's learning his way. And they had a lot of abject failures in that 2019 season when they went 2-14. And you've seen the growth from that year and last year as well. And you're seeing, I think, a more seasoned coaching staff across the board, not just Zach, but also with Brian Callahan and Lou Anarumo. And it's a big testament to the patience the front office showed. And they had a lot of faith that Taylor would turn things around in year 3. And so far, that's exactly what he's done.
When you think back to the discussion immediately following the Bengals selecting Jamar Chase in the draft and the outrage about them not taking Penei Sewell and protecting Joe, how can you do this? Is it hard to believe that that's a real thing, or that Les Miles told him that he couldn't play receiver in college football?
Yeah, I feel like Wes is probably the one holding the bag there because he probably made a little miscalculation on how good Jamar was going to be. But, I think that the conversation about whether they should have drafted Chase or Sewell, honestly, you still can make the argument for Sewell, especially when you just watch Burrow get sacked 9 times. But on the flip side, you were banking on a guy who could come in, immediately be a playmaker. That's exactly what the Bengals were looking for. And I cannot understate the impact he's had on this offense. And it's safe to say that Sewell probably would be a big upgrade to this offensive line and is a guy who could probably, be a 10-year pro and should be a Pro Bowler, has the potential to be an all-pro guy, all the things that we expected when he came out of Oregon. But Jamar Chase has really been special. I wrote a few weeks ago he might have turned in the best receiving history, best season by any Bengals receiver in franchise history when you really go look at it. So I think that, what they've got in him, that rapport with Burrow has really paid off. And that was the one thing I was skeptical about was that does that really make a big difference if these guys play together in college, have that chemistry? Does that really translate over to the NFL? And what does that say about Burrow if he really needs this guy? But I think that all those questions have been answered. Chase was definitely the right pick. It's definitely been a big boost for Burrow and a big reason why the Bengals are a game away from the Super Bowl.
What do you make of kind of it feels like, with Chase, there was a little bit of that lull, and then he's come on so strong. And T. Higgins, when Chase was down, seemed to be hot, and they would run the offense through him. And then, the last few games, his numbers haven't been as great when Chase has been there. Do you think it's just kind of, is that credit to defenses are trying to limit one or the other and Burrow just taking what's there? How do you kind of see that scenario when there are so many mouths to feed? Boyd's great. Uzoma's great. Mixon's great. I mean, this is a very talented offense at the skill positions.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And I think that when you look at it, the Bengals and Burrow and this whole team has been very okay with taking whatever options are there, taking whatever matchups are there, and going forward. And I think that's why, you've seen this team be so successful. Tyler Boyd talked about that today, that he's been on some successful teams. He doesn't need the touches and all the stats. He at this point he wants to win, and there's definitely that mentality. And he said that guys like him and Mixon are telling others in the locker room, hey, this is the goal that we've got in mind. We've got, we want to go out and win this thing. The numbers aren't really important for us this year. We want to go out and bring home a championship. And I think that's been the message throughout the year. And as guys, as defenses have given Chase more coverage or maybe loaded the box to stop Mixon, they've looked at other ways to get find other ways to attack defenses. And I think that unselfishness has been a big reason why this offense has been very good and what's giving defensive coordinators fits throughout the year.
Ben, obviously the 9 sacks, not great, pretty problematic. Kansas City's going to come after Burrow. We know that. I was looking at some of the stuff on the Cincinnati offense, and while there's not a huge sample size of it, they're really good and empty. It is potentially the best way to attack or to combat pressure to provide less protection. Does that make sense?
Say that last one again. Ask that question again.
Is it better? Almost because it's possible. And again, it's a small sample size, but they're really good and empty. Cincinnati has been all year. They don't have a large sample size. It's like 20-some plays, maybe even less than. But is that perhaps the best way to combat all the pressure and all the sacks Burrow's hitting would be actually to provide less protection?
Yeah, that's been a sticking point and a point of consternation ever since Zach Taylor arrived, and even at the beginning of last year. Because Burrow actually operates best in empty. I think when you give him that look, you give him that option, it now allows him to diagnose the defense pre-snap, read the matchups, and then he's so good about figuring out where the holes in the defense are in any given play. When you manipulate the numbers by putting your running back outside, it really does make a big difference. Now you're putting a lot of pressure on your offensive line, and that's one of the drawbacks from doing that. But in that first game against Kansas City, they started out empty and 11 personnel, and they made the decision that we've got a good offense and we're going to go out there and try to score points. So I expect them to do that again this week. I think that's the only way to beat Kansas City, as we saw in their game against Buffalo. You've got to go out, you've got to be aggressive, and you've got to score touchdowns. So I think that you're exactly right, and that's going to be a big way. I think if the Bengals want to pull off this upset, I think they're going to have to do it with Burrow and shotgun, and they're going to have to do it with him throwing the ball a ton.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they try to do that, working out of empty or trying to get those verticals. I mean, you think about the game against Kansas City, it kind of came down to 3 chunk plays, right? The unbelievable catch and run, which was the zone buster. Then he had Sorensen took that weird angle that I think ended up being a 70-something yard touchdown. And then the 3rd and 27. By the way, when you saw on 3rd and 27 them go cover 0 and 1-on-1 with Jamar Chase, you probably had the exact opposite reaction we did, which is we were rooting for, obviously, the Chiefs to win for the Browns season, to stay alive. Maybe the reaction was say, what are they doing? And then Jamar Chase able to pull it off. But those chunk plays are going to be vital, I think, again.
Yeah, I think anytime, and that's the reason why we're going back to, our conversation about Jamar earlier. That's why you go draft a guy like that, because, this Bengals offense just was not explosive last year. And they know that, good teams and championship-winning teams get those chunk plays when you need them, as we saw at the end of Kansas City Buffalo. So I think that you definitely need those kind of plays, and it's going to be big for the Bengals to get those in chunks. And on the flip side, you got to limit Kansas City from finding those with Travis Kelce and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who didn't play in the first game, and Tyreek Hill, who had a chance at a couple of big ones, but the secondary thwarted them at the last second. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Tyler Boyd said it today. Both these offenses are really good, so it's going to come down to whichever defense has a good strategy to stop them.
Ben, we'll get you out of here on this one. Finish the sentence. The Bengals beat Kansas City if they do what?
If they're able to score 35 points, I think that's going to be the key. I think you've got to go put up a ton, because I think Kansas City is going to get theirs. They've shown the ability to get theirs. The Bengals only have 3 offensive touchdowns in 2 playoff games. I think right now that's not what it takes to beat a team like Kansas City. So if they can get the offense humming, if they can take advantage of their opportunities when they're there and not settle for field goals, as good as Evan McPherson has been, that's going to be the only way they're going to be able to beat Kansas City and go play for a Super Bowl.
You're the best, buddy. Thanks for your time, pal.
Yep, thanks. Good talking to y'all.
Ben Baby, ESPN, covers the Bengals. I think you can make a pretty solid argument that the most important acquisition in the NFL last offseason was Jamar Chase. I mean, you're talking about Micah Parsons. You think about traded guys, free agent guys. If they don't have Jamar Chase, they're not here. They're not.
Matt Stafford.
Similar. Those would be those are the two.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Just trying to think from each team that's still alive.
Yeah.
Who had a significant addition in the offseason.
If say this,
the Niners didn't.
If the Rams would have ran it back with Goff, is it impossible for them to be here? No. Mm-mm. If the Bengals don't have Chase, I think it's impossible. He's their Tyreek Hill.
He is, but Burrow's really, it's not
he
impossible.
Is, but it makes you defend everything.
Of course.
I mean, when you have a guy you hit a hitch and he goes 70.
Yep.
He's their Tyreek Hill. That's how important he is. He's so electric.
He is. He is very, very good.
Yeah. He's special. And that's why they have a chance, because you can, at any point, he can take it. And they absolutely have a shot. I forgot about that play until you brought it up. The 3rd and 27.
It was one of the, watching in real time, it was stupefying. Great
it's the
word.
only word
it's the
you
only
could
word.
say. It was just,
like, what
are we doing? Yeah.
You just make them catch it. You're going to have 3 minutes, all your timeouts left, down 3, because McPherson's probably going to make it. At this point, you just assume everything he's going to make it.
Yeah. You heard what Ben said at the end there, too. You got to score 35. That's the NFL, kids.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's
you
what goes back
score
to
35.
this list.
It goes back to your list. You got a guy who can get you 35.
Right, and until you do, you are going to have problems winning consistently in the National Football League, period.
Yeah.
And winning championships. I mean, you can win the regular season, matchups, whatever. I'm talking about winning.
You're talking about winning the Lombardi.
Things of consequence.
That's right. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll be part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more on that front. Our old buddy Jeff Howard going to join us coming up next. Yeah. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You're up.
Gambling without setting limits on how much you're going to wager or how long you'll play is like a football team going into a game without a game plan. It's probably going to end up in a loss, so always set limits before you bet. And you can get more tips like this at keepitfunohio.com. Several jobs starting to be filled around the league. We'll get into that as the hour continues. The mailbag returns at the bottom of the hour. Get your Ask CBD questions in to Gibbe using the hashtag AskCBD at Browns_daily on that front. We are blessed to have Baco Nation in studio with us. It's a win for everybody, obviously. Jeff Howard joining us momentarily, our DB coach, who will be the defensive coordinator of the East-West Shrine game.
Yeah.
You have some Baco Nation thoughts?
Yeah, look at him. I mean, thriving, beautiful camera he's got in here. This means that this is something of serious nature. The blue lights are spectacular, but really don't you feel like there's just a little zest, a little frivolity, a little carefree can-do in the air?
I think as soon as he entered, the word that that came to mind was just panache.
Oh, yeah.
Like there just was an entry of panache. And
now a married man carrying himself with such dignity.
So much dignity. Sorry, ladies.
Sorry.
Your loss.
Totally. Baco Nation locked up.
Coach.
More for him.
Lock of
More
the year,
for you.
by the way.
He's locked up. More for you, everybody else.
That's right.
All right, let's head out
You're back in the mix.
You're back in the mix. He's out.
He's withdrawn himself.
More for you. All right, let's head out on the hotline to visit with our good buddy Jeff Howard. He's, of course, our defensive backs coach, and he will serve as the defensive coordinator for the East-West Shrine Bowl.
For the East team.
Coach, you looking forward to that, man? That's fun.
West team.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Blame Zegura.
How you guys doing?
Cordell's on the East team. Three of our coaches are on one side, and one is on the other.
Friendly fire, Coach?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what Cordell's going to be bringing. You're ready for that.
Got to be ready for it, right?
You guys have fun with that, Coach? The idea of I mean, obviously this is an important time when you talk about evaluations and all of that, but is there some fun to see, your guys, on this staff on the other side and a little bit of give and take?
Absolutely. I actually coached in this game back in 2018, and we had people on both sides of the game, and there was some good banter going on between, and that actually lasted long into the spring and the summer.
Well, Coach,
as far as who won.
Coach, to peel back the curtain for some of the people, and in my role to be on the sideline, one of the things that I noticed is that you're a man who thrives on in-game banter, and it's something that you thoroughly enjoy. So I imagine you'll be bringing, some of the things you've done in it. And look, at times, like you can ruffle some feathers, Minnesota. Adam Thielen, no big deal. But, I know you enjoy that aspect of it, don't you?
Oh, I enjoy competing. I first and foremost always see myself as a competitor, and something I've enjoyed ever since I was young. And just to be able to be on the sideline and for our great game, I have a lot of fun with that. I try to, it's a lot of fun getting our guys going and prepared for that situation. And I feel like we want to thrive in those competitive environments. And yeah, absolutely. So I think that's so much what's fun about this game, is developing young guys, getting the opportunity to scout guys, but it's also like competitors want to compete, and you get the opportunity to compete in a great stadium in front of a lot of people. Like, obviously you want to do that. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting.
So how does this come to be? How do you get tabbed to be the defensive coordinator in the East-West Shrine game for the West team?
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool thing. So the league's tied into the East-West Shrine Bowl, and a couple weeks ago, Coach Stefanski presented, to us that if we wanted to look into coaching it, we could put our names into a hat, and the way they do it is you end up coaching up one position from where you're at.
Yep.
All right, so if you're like a quality control position assistant coach, or as assistant position coach, you end up getting a room. If you're a position coach and you're chosen, then you have an opportunity to be a coordinator, a head coach. And so I put my name into it, and it ended up working out. And I had the opportunity back in 2018, and it was such a good experience. They do such a great job with this game. Just being able to get with the players, work with them, and basically a similar environment that they're going to be tasked in whenever they come to an NFL club, and it's being able to work with them day in and day out and see how they work. It provides great insight, scouting wise with that. So that's a lot of fun. And then also, the opportunity to, put a group together and, see what they can do. I think that, like, as the coordinator, that's what so exciting to me is, like, really being able to set the focus of a unit. Like, what do we want to look like? What should it look like when we go out on the field? And, I think they do a good job here because they, we're not going to do a lot, like, schematically, but, there's certain things culturally that we should be able to see on the field. Hopefully mimics a lot of things that we see from the Browns. But I'm looking forward to working with these guys who get in today.
Jeff, you mentioned you had done this before. Was there a guy the last time that going into the week and coming out of it, you went, is there a name that you went, wow, that kid's a player?
Yeah.
And, an opportunity for real growth for these guys. Yeah,
it's so funny. Sione Taki was on my team back in 2018, and loved how he handled himself. The same fiery guy that he'd come to practice every day, and brought that juice that he always does now. And this guy that's still playing. There's actually a couple of those guys that I still talk to. There's 3 or 4 of those guys that are still playing around the league, but that's really kind of cool to see.
It is cool to see something like that. And you know what else is cool? You're going to be calling the plays, and I know you got an opportunity to do that earlier this year, a little mix in there, and I know how much that meant to you, and that kind of that development, and how much fun you had doing that. How excited are you to do that now as somebody who you're presiding over, I think, an elite defensive back room, you preside over elite defense and passing defense here for the Cleveland Browns, that this is potentially something that is in your future, and to get the opportunity to do that here, how cool was it in the preseason? How cool is it to get to do this in this game?
Oh, absolutely. It's something that I've really kind of been preparing for a long time. It's something that I've always wanted to do, is be a coordinator. So even like when I was back in a quality control role, I was always trying to study the game. Like, hey, if you're on the spot here, what calls would you make? And that's, the positions that we all want to be in. But being able to prepare yourself for it and then getting an opportunity to do it in an all-star game is something that I'm super excited about. Absolutely.
Coach, let's look back on your season here and the way that room of yours grew as the year went along. And you think about an ability – man, we had so much adversity with injuries and COVID stuff and all of that, and just constantly felt like you as guys ready. You think about MJ Stewart in the back end and what he ended up being as the season went along. But you guys had an ability to really put a great group out there every single week despite it all. How were you guys able to pull that off?
Yeah, it was so fun to watch. You brought some of those guys up, guys like, MJ Stewart, who came in from Tampa with us and was like really a corner that played nickel. And, this offseason we talked about, potentially learning the safety position. And it's something that he's a very smart guy, but it took some time. And I remember when we first started doing it, like I told myself, like, at the end of the year, you're probably going to need this guy to do something like this. And it ended up, shaking out like that. And he not only was put in that situation, but he was prepared and ready to do it. And that was really fun to see, because he made some really good plays. Guys like AJ Green, guys that come in every single day are focused. They might not be getting the reps that they want, but just being able to look down in their future, like if you invest in this, it's going to pay off for you later. And that was kind of cool to see, because I feel like those are a couple guys that, made the most of their opportunities. It's something in the room, like, Coach Lynch and I talk about all the time is prepare, set a plan, prepare, and then be able to execute it. And knowing that your opportunity is going to come. There's injuries in the NFL. That's the way that football is. And we got to be ready when our number's called. And it was cool to see some of the guys do that.
Yeah, those guys certainly did. I mean, MJ Stewart, and obviously, we'd love to see him back with the Browns, a free agent after this season. And you mentioned AJ. Like AJ Green, and it was announced today, Ben Roethlisberger is retiring. You think about what you guys as a secondary did to him in that game. In the last time he ever played the Browns, he averaged 2.7 yards per pass. That is insane, those numbers. You never see that. And AJ Green's going to be able to say, I picked him off You know, in the last time he ever played the Cleveland Browns, I'm the one who intercepted him. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And we try to keep that, that optimistic perspective, just as far as like we knew going into it, that we were going to, we had a new group. We were going to take our lumps, as we were coming together, we're growing together. It took a little bit of time, but we really tried to stay focused in on I remember early in training camp, we were talking about we want to be recognized as one of the top secondaries in the NFL. We want to be recognized as a top 5 pass defense. Those goals were established a long time ago, and it was cool to see the guys really invest in that, daily stay focused on it. Hey, we can do this. And even at the end of the year, that was some of our battle cry is, we want to be guys in the back end that are reliable, this team can rely on. And it was cool to see the guys come out and do that.
And they certainly did do that. And you also had the guys that were expected to be studs. You're out in Vegas. Denzel's going to be out in Vegas for the Pro Bowl. Greg Newsome on the Pro Football Writers Association all-rookie team at the cornerback spot. And even a guy like John Johnson, who didn't get the awards at the end of the year. And you mentioned it took some time to gel second half season. He played lights out for you. But when you have those guys who get the awards and getting out to be in Vegas and then be able to go over and see a guy in your room, as a coach, when you send somebody to the Pro Bowl, that's got to mean something to you, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And, I know and what was cool about it is all the guys are excited. I think a lot of them are going to actually come out here.
That's cool.
Come out and support Denzel. And even I talked to some of the younger guys, come out and watch this. But, when you're watching it, envision yourself being there. And so I think that's the next part of it is not being, we did some good things, but ultimately, we didn't reach as a team what we wanted to, and staying hungry and, allowing the confidence that we established in some of our play to build onto greater things, and having that vision to, Greg Newsome, what's your goal now? What do you want to be now? Denzel, what do you want to be now? What are we working towards? So it's not just, hey, this is it, but it's we're focusing in on growth, and that's kind of cool to see the guys buy into. Texting them and talking to them, even now in the off season, you can tell that that confidence is breeding a new fire with them, and I think that's exciting to see.
Coach, I think it speaks a lot to the camaraderie that you have in your room, that you have these guys willing to go to a place as uncomfortable, as desolate, as unforgiving as Las Vegas to support their teammate. I mean, who the hell wants to go there?
Nobody ever goes to Vegas.
Nobody wants to go there, Coach.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, that's camaraderie you got there. That's a family. People talk about a brotherhood.
There's nothing to do
Nothing
there.
to do there. The weather sucks.
Geez.
No doubt.
That's your room, man.
You got to love it.
Yeah.
And your room, look, as much as we joke, they probably would go anywhere to do this. Vegas, not a bad
Makes
bonus.
it easier.
Not a bad bonus.
Makes it easier. Yeah.
But your room.
We got 2 feet of snow here.
And it's snowing currently. You left at a great time, Coach. You got it getting out of here yesterday. Good job by you. Your room, those guys, and the way they feel about you and you feel about them. I talk to the players all the time, and you and I have gotten to know each other pretty well. And Coach Lynch and the differences that you guys have in your styles, but the way that it all comes together. Was this one of the more fun? Where does this room rank for you just in your time? I know you spent a lot of time in Minnesota. I'm sure had great years, but it just felt like there was something special in that room this year. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a good room. It's a good group of guys. Just, stay focused. We saw our fair share of challenges this year, but it was cool to see some of the guys step up to it, and I'm really looking forward to the future working with them. And I think we have so many young guys, so much inexperience. I think when you put some good tape on, or put some stuff on tape that's good, it just breeds confidence, and that's so much of what we had in Minnesota with that group. Was a group of guys that played together for so long. There was just a comfort level to it, and a way of communicating with one another that just became so efficient with them. And I think that's how we ended up having so many good years there. But it's something that I hope we get to here in Cleveland, and something we definitely aspire to.
Has Brandon Lynch ever had a bad day?
That's my man. Coach Lynch is my man.
I always see him smiling, happy. You have a little bit of swag. You'll throw a little shade, got a little gangster vibe to you. This guy's just pure joy. He's just always smiling, happy. So, what a human.
He's great. He's great people. And, I was hoping he would get to, we were trying to work this whole thing out so that we both could end up working out, coming out here, but it didn't end up working out. But, I can't say enough about Coach Lynch, just as far as a high character, father, husband, coach. You talk about his outlook every day. That type of stuff. It matters. There's so many things in this life that we can't control. Attitude and effort is one or two things that we can, and that's Coach Lynch in a nutshell. He's going to come to work every day, work hard, and have a positive attitude. And I think that that gets relayed to the players, and hopefully we see that type of joy when they come out and play.
Coach, thanks for your time, man. Enjoy it out
there.
Enjoy
Vegas.
Great talking to you.
Talking to you guys.
Yeah.
You guys should have came out here. Man.
I know. Listen, when you're the
tell the people.
We need Gibbe to get on board. Listen,
tell the luminaries. We're helping held
coordinator. The guy's the defensive coordinator. He's saying, let's get out there. Let's have a show live from Vegas.
Yeah.
We're great hype, man.
Yes.
Zegura out here, man.
Let's
Come
go.
On. I know you're about it.
You
know I'm about it.
Yeah, you do know.
You do.
You're darn
That's
right. That's right.
Have fun out there,
Enjoy
Coach.
yourself, Coach.
Yeah. All right, great talking to you guys. Have a great day.
Same.
All right, that's Jeff Howard, our defensive backs coach. He'll be the D coordinator for the West team in the East-West Shrine Bowl next weekend. Get your mailbag questions into Gibbe, hashtag AskCBD at Browns_Daily. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. Weather's cold outside. Nice hot bath or shower would feel amazing for
Wait,
you.
it's cold.
It's snowing
What is that,
again.
a snow globe?
Is this? How long is this going to last? Yeah, thank God.
I don't even think it was on the forecast, but what do I know?
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing. I'll tell you this. It's a perfect time to transform your bathroom into a custom bath. It's going to feel like a spa. They can do it in a day. Let Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler, expert factory-trained installers. You can call now for $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. Give them a call at 216-220-8399 or go to thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. It's the largest selection of bath products, all made in the United States. Change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding. They have these acrylic tubs that insulate and keep the heat in. They have tub-to-shower conversions that they can do. And, again, they can do this stuff in about a day. That's kind of what you're looking at. This can happen very, very quickly for you. Superior products with expert installers. 216-220-8399 at thebathauthority.com. I saw you guys see that Twitter feed that's like Super 70s Sports?
Love that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I follow it.
So there was one this morning that was just classic. And we'll do a little on the Cavs here in a second. I know people want to get into that. We'll do that in a second. So it's Kent Benson, who played at Indiana, and he's going up against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So Jabbar is coming down, and Benson absolutely hauls off and gives him an elbow right to the abdomen, like a hard elbow to the abdomen in the 70s. Abdul-Jabbar kind of gathers himself
and then
stretches and then punches him in the face.
In the face.
With a roundhouse.
It's a straight
straight to the nose.
Boom.
It's straight to the nose.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. What's most amazing about this is from the looks of it, no one's thrown out of the game.
Oh, it's a totally different world.
Like the idea, I don't know if the kids realize that there was a time in that league where that was regular.
Yeah.
Like fighting on the court was regular.
Dude,
like
Rudy Tomjanovich's face.
Well, right.
Changed.
But even superstars like Larry Bird fought Dr. J.
That's
they
right.
fought.
Yeah.
In the 86 finals, Jerry Seasting fought Ralph Sampson.
Yeah.
Fought him. Sampson was thrown out. Sampson punched him. I mean,
there was a punch in one of the Lakers Celtics series too. There was a punch.
Well, there was McHale went at McHale took out Rambus, and then Rambus came up and fought him. Yeah, so that was a regular part of it. Much like in hockey, used to be a lot more fighting in hockey. There's not that much anymore, but there used to be a lot more of it, and the same was true with they used to fight.
I will say that one of the things, because this clip is burned into my brain. When Kareem does that, he kind of takes an awkward step back after the punch, like, oh, like maybe I shouldn't have done that. I mean,
it's a direct
but
hit.
It is, crushes him. He's like, he kind of looks at him like
it's a haymaker,
and then he's just like, go, bow.
I mean, he gathers himself, stretching, and then just walks around in front of him and smokes him right in the schnoz. Crushes him.
Unbelievable. By the way, speaking of smoking,
okay,
this was just brought to my attention on Twitter, and I looked it up to see that it was real, and it was. This is a tweet from the Lakewood Police Department in Colorado, Lakewood, Colorado.
Okay.
There will be snow 2 to 5 inches tomorrow during the AM rush hour, so you know the routine. Make sure your tires have good tread, drive slowly, and give the same amount of room to nearby cars that the Bills gave to Travis Kelce with 7 seconds left to go to get to field goal range.
Why are the Denver Broncos? Oh, just Chiefs, just rivalry.
Probably.
They just hate the Chiefs. Yeah.
Runs deep.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It's pretty good though.
It is good.
That's a
Look, they got to bully the Chiefs for like 20 years, and now the Chiefs get to be on the other end of it.
I know we got to get two Cavs in a second, but we never even got to this. At least I'm pretty sure we never did.
What's that?
What do we got? Oh, because I got papers here.
The
stats about Mahomes.
No, go ahead.
The Chiefs are 3-1 in the playoffs when Pat Mahomes when their in-game win probability dips below 5%. The rest of the league is 1 for 38. 1 and 38. So 1 for 39. 1 and 38
Explain to people what that
since
means.
2018. When those computer models decide that your chance to win the game is less than 5% given the situation,
you lose.
Time, the score, you're losing. The rest of the time,
1
out of 40.
Yeah, 1 out of 40 for everybody else. With him, he's 3-1.
So what is that, 2.5%?
Yeah.
You have a 2.5% chance of winning.
That's why when McShay did that
Not
thing
him,
this week
75%.
when he said, I got to rethink the way I evaluate. No, you don't.
No, he's
crazy. He is the outlier. He's the unicorn. There's nobody like that.
And then did you see the tweet about his heart rate?
No.
I put it. It should be.
I got it right here. I liked it earlier today because I wanted to bring this up because I thought both of these things were just absolutely fascinating. So Mahomes, I guess, had a heart rate monitor on him in this game.
Okay.
And so on that heart rate monitor, they're able to, determine when it's high, low, whatever, and go through it. And so the findings from the Mahomes one, his average heart rate was 144 beats per minute during the game, but it was at its peaks when the Bills had the ball, and it would always drop back when he went on the field because he has ice water in his veins. His highest heart rates when they chart it are when the Bills had the ball or if he made a game-changing play, like the touchdown to Tyreek or the big plays. That would get his heart going. But his low heart rate in the huddle and the pre-snap, that was his quote-unquote flow state, they said, and that was when they had the ball. So he was at his calmest actually playing quarterback. He was at his most anxious when he could not play.
He has the answers to the test.
That's sick. And they said that's crazy. Then I saw some other
That's what it feels like watching him, though, doesn't it? That's what you watch Burrow. That's what it feels like watching Burrow. That's what it feels like watching Allen.
Well, yeah.
He's
but
I
especially
know how to do
Mahomes.
this. Well, Mahomes is on another
another level.
Yeah, another stratosphere.
There was another one.
There's never been a combination of that cool, that ability to buy time, and that arm strength. Like that combination of human has never existed previously.
Well, there was another thing that about his athleticism, like, is he a good athlete? And people were like, maybe, I don't know. He's able to reach top speeds of 21 miles an hour, so he's so much faster than his 40 time in games. He averaged over 7 yards a carry this year, which I think was most among all quarterbacks, and so he could do that. But then they said that elite athletes, like truly elite, like Olympian-level elite athletes, are able to run backwards, like backpedal, at 77% of their speed forward.
Okay.
He can do it at like 87% or 85%, so above what should be the limit. And then the others running in changing directions, circles, and you were supposed to be able to run a certain percentage, and he's, again, above that.
Yeah.
So he's
Well, that's what it feels like.
totally insane.
That's what it feels like.
And so calm.
So calm. Yeah.
So calm.
Yeah, he's
The Grim Reaper didn't have much of a heart rate.
the other guys that have these type of the other type guys that have this type of ability. Historically, if you think about the clutch for like Joe or Brady or Manning, you always felt like Manning had the answers. Like those type of guys that had that, they did not possess these things that he has. These gifts, these athletic gifts that you say, this arm strength that he has. They were thinking their way through it. His is the thinking his way through it and the physical. It's a unicorn. I compare it's like LeBron. Like I've never seen anybody do this before with this type of skill set. This Cavalier team had a fun win last night. Statement win for them. They whipped Milwaukee. It was a fun game. They dominated.
They forced Giannis to eat wings in his post-game presser.
Such a great.
I do
love
like
that.
him.
That was
I
so
love that
great.
guy.
Are their wings great? I've never had their wings.
They have a great lunch buffet.
Because
I don't know if it still exists post-COVID, but
JJ Redick said it's like the best wing spread in the NBA is Cleveland is the best. He came with a whole bucket of them.
yeah, they sell those up on the concourse.
Oh, okay.
You can just get them by the bucket and
Yeah, I don't
Go
know.
to
He was crushing it, and then he's just eating as they're asking questions. He goes, "Yeah, we sucked," which is great.
We weren't great.
Cavs are really good. They are going to be they're going to be a team that you're going to be watching in May. They're really tough as long as Garland stays healthy, because he is
they
a
got to
maestro.
get another guard to give him a breather.
I mean, it sucks that both Sexton and the
Rubio.
Rubio, those both stink, but they're really big. They're really long. They defend it. They shoot it. I think one of the really cool stories, though, is they just kept Kevin Love. Like everyone would say, cut him, trade him, get rid of him, get him out of here. Obviously, there are all those images of what he's done in previous years, just walking off the court or inbounding the ball to nobody or all of that. We know what happened last year in the summer with Team USA, where he didn't show up in good shape and all of that and was sent home by Colangelo. But the Kevin Love that's playing right now is awesome. He hits basically every three he takes. Last night he had 9 rebounds, I think 25 points, and he gives them such a lift off the bench. It's an incredible lift. Like, it just sucks that Rubio got hurt because the two of them working together was so much fun. But yeah, I mean, I think Garland will be an all-star.
It's a fun team to watch. It is a fun brand of basketball that they play. They've won 8 of their last 9. They're 30-19 on the year. And yesterday, 19 threes. I can watch people shoot the three, the trifecta all day. They made 7 of them in the third. Here's what you're getting on the season. Garland, 20-8, 8 being assists. Allen, 16-11, and fine shooter of the basketball.
They have a bunch of guys who can shoot, who are long. One of the guys who covers the team did the story before the season. They went over to Nemacolin and like with a coaches retreat, and they all got together and they started talking about how let's be long and because people aren't prepared for that. Last week, or it was maybe 2 weeks ago, they were playing a zone that had Evan Mobley at the point.
Yep.
And they had 3 7-footers out there. Like, what do you do with that?
Well, think about
that's the length that they have. When you have Markkanen, Mobley, Allen, all 3 on the court at the same time, and then you've got Garland, who's a maestro. You put another shooter in there. Okoro's been good. All their role players. Everybody's on the same page. It's fun. It's fun, but that's a disservice. It's not just fun. They're good.
They're very good. So you're getting 20-8 from Garland, and then from the big guys, Allen 16-11, Mobley 15-8, Love 14-7, 41% three, Markkanen 14-5. So you take your 4 big guys.
Yeah,
you're getting 60 and 31 a night.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's ridiculous. And then Rondo, since he's been here, 8 4-4, not a ton, but he's shooting 40% from 3, which feels un-Rondo like. To me, I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but I never thought of him as a 40% three-point shooter.
Yeah, not sure if he's been evolving into that or not. I know this. When you look around the East, like Miami's really good. The Nets are really good, but there's a million questions around the Nets. They got to deal with the Kyrie stuff. These reports that James Harden's disgruntled. Of course, Milwaukee, but you showed last night that what you can do with them, it'll be different in the postseason. But yeah, they can make noise, man.
He's a career 32% three-point shooter, Rondo.
Has he been trending?
He was shooting 26% with the Lakers this year prior to coming to the Cavs.
Yeah. All right, get your questions in for the mailbag. Ask CBD at Browns_daily. OBM, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider, your Cleveland Browns. They have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. The mailbag returns next. You'll see Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau here for my friends at EOX Vantage. EOX Vantage connects core systems that don't talk, from reporting and analytics to insight and decision-making. Gain a more complete real-time picture of your business. You can eliminate Excel nightmares from business processes, visualize your important data in one place, gain real-time insight to make data-driven decisions on performance through role-based visualization dashboards. With EOX Vantage, you can benefit from lower overall cost, better alignment between technology and specific business needs, scalability, ease of deployment, and management. EOX Vantage makes your data work smarter to move your business forward. You're about growth, and your software should be too with EOX Vantage. It can be. Check them out at www.eoxvantage.com for more information. Local presence, global footprint with EOX Vantage. Time for a little mailbag, a little Gibbe. Hey, Gibbe, have we heard from you yet today?
Yeah, just kind of in and out.
Popping
today.
in and out?
You know, I mean, if I need to be there, I'll be there.
You're always needed.
Always
you guys
needed.
got it covered.
What do you make of the idea that all of us are on weather apps that say there's no precipitation right now and it's currently
It's a whiteout.
It's a whiteout that's happening.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
Like, we've all got Dopplers.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And my kid didn't have school today. You had school.
Because of cold?
Yeah. They canceled it last night.
Soft here on the west side. Little soft.
Yeah, we're
Tough.
hardy.
East side, tough.
It
Blue
was
collar.
our week to take one on the chin there, I feel like.
Get yourself
We're
another.
hardy.
Give yourself another 10 minutes. Sturdy stock on that east side.
I was surprised it came
over
as quick as it did last night. And it was kind of it's one of those where if certain districts close, you're like, well, this is going to trend toward us. And I started seeing it like 9 o'clock last night. I'm like, no way.
It was a cold threshold, like below 0 or something like that. Is that what it was?
The wind chill.
Yeah, wind chill. Yeah, it was -6 wind chill this morning when I was up, and I thought, this is a little aggressive when you think the other problem is there's so much snow. Like, a lot of the sidewalks aren't cleared, so kids are having to trudge through the snow to get to buses. So I am empathetic to that.
Yeah. So I think that's ultimately how it came down. It's great, though, because our superintendent, he has a sense of humor about it, and some of the kids do not. And some of the the kids on social media versus the educators. And he's like the other day when everybody's like, oh, we're going to have a snow day. He's like, nice try. We'll see you tomorrow morning. So last night, all of a sudden, he's like, there might be some news coming. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh, here we go. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. My kids ask for it every day. Snow day? Dad, snow day?
Yeah, so is my 17-year-old.
Settle down, man. Like, you're basically in school like 3 days a week anyway with all these off days.
Exactly.
So
yeah, somehow they've turned 3-day weekends, long weekends, into 4 days and 5 days.
There's a lot of that. And by the way, they're like we're not out till like June 9th.
Yeah.
Like, I forget that. I would much prefer less of these 3-day, 4-day nonsenses and lock it up. Be done before Memorial Day. We're out.
Done in May.
Should be done Memorial Day weekend.
Who the heck wants to go past? Can you imagine like going back to school after Memorial Day?
When I was growing up, I never got to get out before Memorial Day.
Oh, really? You were always
Not a
after?
chance.
You were always after?
Yeah.
I think you got it. I think you got to shut it down Memorial Day.
Yeah, we would go till early June.
We'd go till early June, and we were back in August.
We were
high school.
Middle of May. Well, you private school. We were middle of May, and then you didn't go back till after Labor Day because of harvest. So that you had to have August had to be the kids had to be able to work.
I have my
Ponderosa.
my sister-in-law and her family live out in Rhode Island, and they have that because it's tourist season along the East Coast. They don't go back to school till like the second week in September.
Yeah.
That was my favorite time when we could go do the camping, when you go make camp.
Yeah, you like that?
I loved it. That's why you do it. That's why you do the ranching.
You go out there,
says.
make
So you
camp?
can make camp.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Summer camp.
Like a summer camp
Yeah,
for the
summer
cows
camp.
when you go and round up the cows, as
Yeah.
you've told me so many times that you've done.
Summer camp.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, you can't let these brown spotteds wander too far. You gotta keep an eye on them. You gotta keep them under control.
Still willing to die on that sword.
Brown spotted.
Yeah. A couple of heifers. A couple of heifers running them heifers.
All right, little mailbag on a Thursday. Not too many questions today. I feel like are people working? Are they?
What do you mean? We've got questions. Hold on, I got a story for you. I don't know if this just came across. Somebody just tweeted this to me. And
Well done, Nick, by the way, on the travel.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I got you.
All right, pre-mailbag. Can you guys believe this? Mike Singletary, former coach of the 49ers and Bears legend,
Bears.
told The Athletic that he once vetoed a trade that would have sent Ben Roethlisberger from Pittsburgh to San Francisco because the quarterback had recently faced sexual assault allegations. As Singletary tells it, he had a meeting with 49ers owner John York, CEO Jed York, and GM Trent Baalke. They said they had a trade in place. He said no. I've been telling the team I wanted a team of character. I felt I had to be true to that, but if I could do it again, I'd do it differently. Singletary's story of the trade doesn't come with a time frame, though he took over the Niners as interim head coach in midseason in 2008, was their full-time coach in 9 and 10. Roethlisberger's allegations, one came in 2008 in Lake Tahoe. The quarterback was sued but not charged in that alleged incident, settled suit in 2012. Also something in Georgia in 2000.
Milledgeville, Georgia, just outside of Reynolds Plantation.
He was suspended for the first 6 games of that season. Ban later reduced to 4 games. But I find it difficult to believe that we have not
Well, you remember
heard
that
of this.
Yes, you remember the
12
climate
years.
though around him at that point. Like Pittsburgh was pretty fed up. The organization did not put up with that type of stuff. That was not what they were about. I'd be very curious to know what the deal was going to be.
Yeah, that's
like
all you
what,
get.
What would the Niners have? What would have the give been on that? Was that?
That's not included. None of that's included.
Yeah,
that's
like
all you get.
Alex Smith. Would he have been there at that point?
Yeah, he was there, and it said that Singletary also felt loyalty to Alex Smith.
Okay.
Well, that's why Singletary is unemployed.
Can't win with him.
That was great. Can do it.
Won't do it.
Yeah.
Won't win with him.
I think he would have been good coaching like in college.
Fine.
Not now, but in those days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kenneth Dorsett tweets at the show at Browns_daily using the hashtag AskCBD.
Yeah.
Actually, a football question. Do you think the Browns should draft a good kicker this year instead of going for a kicker off the street or another team's practice squad?
Yeah, 13 overall. Find the best kicker, picking 13. Look,
Cosign.
kicking wins games. Whoever that is, identify it. Whoever won the awards. Wasn't there a kid at San Diego State or something?
No, he's the punt god.
Oh, get him in the second round. So get the kicker in the third round,
First
punter,
round.
kicker first round,
Thank you.
punt god second round,
And away we go.
and away we go.
Punt god.
So, look, guys like Daniel Carlson began his career with Minnesota, ends up with the Raiders. You got to find the right guy, and then let's go. But wherever you do find him, I don't advocate drafting him at 13. I'm going to go out on a limbo. I would not do that.
I would.
I
13.
won't.
13 overall.
Would you have drafted Aguayo that early? I mean, the guy
For
was
sure.
can't miss.
It's a bold
For
move,
sure.
Cotton.
For sure.
Sebastian Janikowski.
Yep.
See
First
that.
round.
Lance tweets at the show, hashtag AskCBD. Favorite national park you've been to?
How many have you been to?
I don't have a list. I have an answer.
Yosemite for you, right? Gotta be.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not been to Yosemite.
That's amazing.
I've heard it is. I grew up near Glacier, which I would say is the best one I've been to. Yellowstone's pretty good. You got it. The crazy thing with Yellowstone though is it's a giant zoo, essentially, without fences. And sometimes I think the patrons forget that there are no fences,
Yeah.
and then they get trampled by buffalo and eaten by bear.
Sad.
So sad.
Or blown away by a geyser.
That can happen too. That's a little dicey. Glacier's the best. It's one that's a little tougher to get to, but it's hard to believe that you're in North America when you're there. It feels like you're in the Alps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'd like to go there. By the way,
live next to a national park, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which
Yes.
has similar vistas.
Yeah, I've been there. It's hard to
Same.
believe that
It's exactly the same.
that they're so
Yosemite,
similar. Glacier,
Yeah, same.
Cuyahoga National. Shout out to my boy Burns, who's one of my Spotos running buddies, who sent me the story on Big Ben. Still can't believe it. I'm gonna have to call my dad. Nerd nonsense.
I got this one is interesting. His name is Spirit of CBD.
Beautiful.
His Twitter handle is @OnOffCough.
Yes. Who is this person?
I have no
That's great.
idea.
You mean this?
Do they want?
Yes.
No, not that.
What
Do
is the best meal prepared in a crock pot?
Oh, there's a lot of good ones.
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind would be some type of delightful chili.
Yeah, I do chili on the stove. I think the best crock pot meal that I make is a pot roast. Is the best. So I sear that sucker first,
Yeah, you do.
get it all crispy, and then I put it in there, and away you go. So I would go pot roast. I'm not a big crock pot guy.
Same.
I think it's.
I couldn't tell you the last meal I made in a crock pot.
But I do like a pot roast in it, and I think it's something that if I have it in my head, I'm doing it. I do that at 7 in the morning, and then you're all set.
Maybe a beef burgundy.
Yeah.
Might be delightful.
Yeah. There you go. Something like that. That's always good.
At Mike Cleve 1, do you think why Les Miles is truly gone is because he got the Jamar Chase evaluation wrong?
This is, in all seriousness, this is the reason why LSU is a top 5 job. He went to a top 100 player in the country and a top 15 receiver in the country and one of the best players in the state of Louisiana. And he said, I don't think your future's at wide receiver. I think you need to be a cornerback. And the receiver still signed with LSU and became Jamar Chase. Well, he already was Jamar Chase, but became a Biletnikoff Award winner and one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. That's why that job's so good. You can be incompetent and still win national titles.
The Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
Jersey Dog 17 at Russ 2019. Hey, Beau, Nathan, and Gibbs, if you had Bootsy for a day unsupervised, where and what would you do?
Whatever Bootsy wants.
Man?
I think we would probably
I love the idea of him at a younger age with an unfettered Gibby.
Oh, man.
Single Gibby.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah.
But I think, whatever. I think we'd get in a lot of fun. I think we'd have a great time.
You and he would have a ball at like Cedar Point.
That's what was the first thing that popped in my mind.
At like the
or the water slides. Go to the water slides.
Yeah, any of that. He loves any sort of game of chance where your money goes to long odds to win nonsense.
Yeah,
loves it.
We'd be great.
Anything he can win, a stuffed animal, anything he can win, he's in. Sold.
Maybe we'll just go to a big carnival.
You just more money. Give me more. That's it.
Show me a stuffed animal. Show me that I'm getting a return on this investment. That's what I'd say.
I'm going to show you something in the break with his stuffed animal.
You start coming home with stuffed animals, then you can have more money. You're earning prizes.
That's right. Still so much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN.
Cornucopia.
When a medical mistake causes your injury, call the medical malpractice attorneys at 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Depot joining us tomorrow. Is that factual?
It is factual.
That's
1:15
fun.
tomorrow.
And factual.
That'll be awesome.
It's gonna be great.
Paul DePodesta joining us tomorrow.
We're gonna bring up your because I do want to talk to him about kickers. I actually really do. That's on my agenda. But I'm gonna ask him what he thinks about you demanding a kicker.
Demanding a kicker at 13.
And the punt god
in the second round.
Yeah.
That's all.
Does he need me to pluck another James Hudson out for this year's draft?
That's what
I'm happy to do so.
That's right. Good job out of you. Benjamin Solak from The Ringer wrote a great piece on the NFC Championship game matchup that you should read. You'll join us as well.
Hoff retweeted that and said, this is definitely worth 20 minutes of your time. And Solak responded, goes, oh, my God, you're Joe Thomas.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Plus over-unders and scores. Next level coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.